Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Scratch and Track podcast presented by the Dude and Grim Show and co-produced by Mr. IVEST. I'm Dude.
And I am Grim, and we're going to take a look back and do a year in review of the music that came out in 2021. Now, I would want to say, dude, that we covered a lot of these in our first impression series, but as I looked at the list, it was very clear to me that there was a lot of stuff that was missed. Some
kind of slipped through the cracks.
Well, some slipped through the cracks. Some was probably more intentional. I mean, you know, if you look at it, I'm really not that upset that we never made it to Justin Bieber's 2 releases, Justice and Freedom.
No,
you know,
hard pass there.
Yeah. So, you know, there were some that I'm sure it was okay that we passed. Some seemed kind of funny. And we covered a lot that we liked, a lot that we didn't like. Maybe not a lot that we didn't like, maybe some, I'll say.
So it was a little out of our wheelhouse. I'd say Billie Eilish was out of our wheelhouse a little bit.
But I can't say I didn't really. It's not that I didn't like it. It was just not something I would normally listen to.
No.
The Foo Fighters' Medicine at Midnight, maybe not one of my favorites.
No.
I mean,
it was just awful. It was just not good.
Yeah, it was not my thing.
Here's the thing, though. That did not stop me from getting Foo Fighters tickets in their 2022 tour.
Really?
I'm going.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
They're playing down at Mile High Stadium. I think it's Mile High. Pretty sure it's Mile High. Or it might be the Ball.
You are in Denver.
Who's to say? I don't remember. I just know that it's here.
Okay, yeah.
But you know, I mean, I figured they're not going to play the whole album, right? So, ideally, they might play a couple of cuts. That's when I'll choose to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
you know,
go get a $12 beer. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Now, I guess if we were to look at it, dude, did you have any that you really liked? Or maybe before we get to that, because I know we kind of each have some records to go through, ones that we really like. But were there any that surprised you that you just you hadn't heard of and you listened to it and you thought, this is cool?
So the biggest surprise, and I do have it on vinyl, is Wolf Alice. That is my biggest surprise of the year. Our amazing producer, Mr. IVEST, I think he kind of suggested, their first their first couple albums, did okay, but that he heard that this one kind of picked up steam, was getting a lot of really good reviews, and
some traction.
We checked it out, and at first, of course, I went into it like a jerk, like with a really closed mind, and then I put it on and I listened to it a couple times, and it really put the hook in me. I really, really enjoyed it, and it has made my constant rotation. I would currently say it is. I have 2 albums, and I'm not going to spoil my favorite one of the year. I have a feeling it might be one of your favorites too. But I would say I kind of have a 1A and a 1B, and this is probably my 1B.
I do. I'm going to say I have a 1, A, B, and C. And now the C one, I don't have on vinyl, which kind of irritates me because I'm pretty sure I could easily find it on vinyl. And that is the Black Keys Delta Cream.
Ooh.
I did not know what to expect with that one, but when I heard it, I really dug it. And I really love kind of their return to blues. I mean, they certainly didn't do it as a 2-piece like maybe some of their first albums, but nonetheless, I thought it had a great, real, authentic, awesome sound. Gritty.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think going into listening to that, my expectations were sort of low because it is a cover album.
Yeah, right? That's why mine were too.
And and I was like, okay, like in as much as I love Crawling King Snake, I mean, it's
one of our greatest episodes. If you ever want,
if you haven't checked it out, you and 14 other people. But I just, I wanted like a Black Keys album, and I will say, so I just didn't have huge expectations, but I will 100% say that when I heard it, I was like, wow, okay, that's, I was pleasantly surprised. I really, really was. And I mean, they're a band that they've been one of my top bands for years now. So
now Prince's album, Welcome to America, I enjoyed that one too. But again, okay, it came out this year, but that had been recorded a long time ago and then released, posthumously. And here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a tough one. I mean, yes, it came out this year, but it's, it's kind of a unique album when albums are, kind of released in that way. And I think Bowie even might have a couple of albums that are set to be released on certain dates, like years from now and everything. That's kind of a cool thing to do.
Now there's another one that I think may have been released right around the time he passed or slightly after, and that I haven't.
That Black Star?
No, that would be DMX's Exodus. And that came out in 2021. And I mean, I don't know, man. He had a unfortunate early passing, but they have released on HBO a pretty awesome documentary about X.
I've noticed that. I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty amazing. I would highly recommend it.
And so this album is called Exodus.
Yeah.
Right? So when are we doing the albums face off of Exodus and Exodus, Bob Marley versus DMX?
It's funny you bring that up because there was another band that I read about, and did I write it down? Yeah, there is a band because I was going through the list of 2021 albums, so maybe that's going to be a new segment. But there's a band called CNCO who released an album called Deja Vu, not to be confused with Deja Vu by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Yeah, so CNCO versus CNSY, Deja Vu. I mean, yeah, your head's going to blow up there. Another one that I thought was funny is, I guess RuPaul released an album in 2021, RuPaul in London. I would imagine that's quite entertaining.
It's got to be something.
But another one that surprised me, Mr. IVEST also recommended, and that is called Spiral by Darkseid. If you remember that one, that is,
I do,
dude. I can't say I've ever heard anything like it. It is totally unique, and it was interesting to me. The whole thing was very interesting.
Yeah, I need to listen to that again. I remember we did the episode. I'd listened to it a few times, and I probably listened to it a few times after it. And then whatever, I got busy and unfortunately for some reason didn't have time to listen to more music. It's fallen out of my rotation, but that's definitely something I need to put back in, because I do remember really enjoying it a lot. Like I was definitely surprised by that one too.
Now there were some that we missed, and before we do our favorites, I want to talk about a couple that I saw that we kind of missed. Okay,
I'm with it.
One of those is Cannibal Corpse, who I know you've been waiting to do, called Violence Unimagined. And dude, I think McCartney 3 Imagined would be an interesting one to listen to, because it's basically they took Paul McCartney's album called McCartney 3, and it was all remixes. Like Beck did a remix of a song, and there's a video out for that one that's actually really cool. So I think that would be an interesting one. Snoop Dogg, from the streets to the sweets.
Wow, I'm surprised he had time, taking away time from doing all those Corona commercials.
Yeah, that I'm sure it was tough to fit it in, but a really interesting one. And I don't think this is the only one she did this year, but something that I think is interesting talking about in terms of just the music industry is Taylor Swift's re-release of her 2008 album called Fearless. And so it's called Taylor Swift Fearless, the Taylor version. So what happened is she was working with this manager who's, I guess, a notable piece of shit named Scooter Braun. And he basically had ownership of all her master tapes from her original album that she released in 2008 and a bunch of other ones. So what I love that she did is she basically did something I don't think anyone's ever done in the music industry, doubled up on the middle fingers and said, you know what? You guys can kiss my ass. I'm going to go ahead and re-record my whole fucking catalog over again.
That's genius just to do that.
I know.
Too, especially, I mean, I don't know if she's running out of material, but that's just a great idea. Like,
I don't think she is, because she's also released, I think, new material too. But okay. I just love the precedent that it sets, where she's like, keep the masters. I can do it again. I might even do it better this time.
Exactly. Suck it.
So I thought that was interesting.
That is cool.
At least worth bringing up.
Well, and actually, now that you bring up, re-recording albums, we did have, I believe, was last year, Mr. Bungle's, the Easter Bunny demo.
Yeah, true.
That came out, and that was a re-recording of their like first album from years and years and years ago. And again, probably not our style. Like, it's not typically the type of music we gravitate to, but we're huge Mr. Bungle fans, at least from California.
Yeah.
And, that was it for their style, man. They killed it. Like, that was just, it's amazing. It was amazing.
It's not my style, but what they did was, really good. Now, there were a few that I marked down that I think I don't know how you could possibly keep up with all this stuff unless you were just on a weekly basis reading about what was coming out. But there were some that were released by bands that I've either liked in the past or kind of currently like, that I would at least be interested in listening to. So Weezer released an album called OK Human.
Wow. Okay.
And I don't know if that's a reimagination of OK Computer with less computer influence. I don't know. Vampire Weekend had one called 4042. The Melvins, I don't know if you know the Melvins, but I think they were kind of,
them.
Yeah, they released one called Working with God. And Willie Nelson released, I don't even know what number that is in his career, but he released one called That's Life. And I did hear a song out of it that was really funny, and I believe this is on that album. And the song is called The Only Hell My Mama Ever Raised Was Me. Kind of a funny, witty title.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
That is pretty great. That is a good title.
But so many people released albums. If you go through the list, it blows your mind. Like, dude, Tom Jones put out an album in 2021.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the tough things is, typically when a band releases an album, they release an album and they go on tour, right? And so bands weren't able to tour last year, which is good, hopefully, on one sense, because it gave them time to be more in the studio. But that's also one of the ways I tend to hear about a lot of music is like, oh, this band's on tour. Well, I assume they put out a new album. Like, if I'm not tracking everything, but I mean, dude, we had King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard put out LW and Butterfly 3000. I thought theirs was about 3, but I don't know. And apparently in January, they're coming out with a remix of Butterfly 3000.
I heard about that.
Butterfly 3001. So stay tuned for that. I mean,
I would be interested to hear that, because Butterfly 3000 is one. My wife really, really likes that one.
Okay.
And so, of course, I picked it up for her on vinyl, and that's one that I have to hold up. And that's one I can just listen to and have on, but I can't say that it's like in my top 5 of their albums or anything. Yeah.
I remember when we did our first impressions of that, I remember thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, gosh, I feel like I can just have this on in the background. And, typically when you do listen to King Gizzard,
it's not in the background.
It is like a show, and you're like, engrossed in it. So that's definitely, definitely the experience. So we'll see what else they have in store for this year. Check it out.
There's that
check it
one.
Out now.
Butterfly 3000 is one of mine. What do you got?
What do I got? Let's see. What do I got? Oh, one that I'm sure I know you have as well. And that would be St. Vincent, Daddy's Home.
Oh, and you also have the alternate cover version.
What's that? Can't hear you.
Yeah.
Now I can.
Hold on.
I got you. And now.
Yeah. So that's fun. I like how that does that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So Daddy's Home. What's your
dude, that's like probably my 1B.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, dude, saw her on tour. Awesome show. Really enjoyed it. I guess if he is another one that I would put as an honorable mention. Now, this was an artist that my wife always really liked. And when I first heard this artist, I did not really care for them. And then this album came out and we listened to it. And that is called Sketchy by Tune Yards. And this is actually a really phenomenal album. And if we were to ever do songs of the same name, which the fans have not been in an uproar that we haven't, there's a song on here, the first one called Nowhere, Man, which is really a kind of a funny title. And I actually like that song better than the Beatles' Nowhere Man.
Wow. Yeah, I got to be honest, that's not one of my favorite Beatles songs.
Me neither.
It's really not. I could probably scratch it. I'd have to look at the full album, though.
So you got another one to hold up?
The last one is going to be my top album of the year. So I don't know if
I got one more
at that point.
Yeah. Okay.
Then show me what you got.
My other one is called Local Valley by Jose Gonzalez.
Ooh. Oh, dude, Jose Gonzalez.
And again, this was an artist that I didn't really know about. My wife was into and introduced me to. I thought it was great. So that was a little Christmas present there for her.
Yeah. Awesome. Nice. Santa was nice.
And dude, it's a clear green vinyl. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. I love it.
So number one.
Number one. Isn't this a lot of fun?
And it is.
It's going to be Parquet Courts.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Sympathy for life, my man.
Dude.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, was Wide Awake the one right before this?
Yeah. Yeah, or the last one before it.
Yeah,
we did a scratch on Wide Awake.
Right. And man, I really, really like that. For some reason, I feel like this they took it up another level for me.
I agree.
In this album. And I love Wide Awake. So it's like, whoa, like that's.
Yeah, they just went into some different, they explored the space.
Explored the space. Yeah. It was mixed right. And yeah.
Oh,
great.
dude. Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's easily my favorite album of the year. Just huge fan of it. That's why I would say that's my 1A. Wolf Alice is probably 1B.
Oh, I'd put St. Vincent as 1B for me.
One you didn't bring up and I was curious about, what about Damon Albarn's?
Dude, I actually really like that one. That is one that I want to buy on vinyl.
Yeah.
As is Delta Cream. Those are two that I've missed so far that I haven't picked up that I really want. But I did really enjoy Damon Albarn's album. I remember, again, having not huge expectations because I hadn't listened to any of his solo stuff. It was, primarily,
What?
I was gonna say Blur, but what's the real one?
Gorillaz.
The Gorilla, yeah. Primarily Gorillaz is what I listen to and associate with him, and then Blur being secondary.
Right.
But yeah, I really like that one. I remember I probably listened to it over and over for like a good couple days. Sure. Now, what about the Golden Casket? We didn't talk about that. Modest Mouse.
We didn't. To me, I think it's a great comeback album.
I agree.
Because I feel like they have fallen off my radar. Like, and of course, we're all going to go back and be like, we like The Lonesome Crowded West, Moon and Antarctica better. Because, dude, those are phenomenal albums.
But even with that.
Setting the bar that high, man.
Yeah. The one they did prior to that, like Strangers from Ourselves or something. I just remember listening to that and just not being into it, but I did not feel that way when I listened to the Golden Casket. Yeah, no,
I enjoyed this one much more than I think the previous few things that they had come out with. So
it was different. I mean, you got to salute them for that. Like just going in a different direction.
Yeah. And I think the last one we actually need to talk about is Radiohead's Kid Amnesia. It's kind of it's an interesting album, just because it's not a true album, right? It's not like this is all new material, although we did get a couple of new full songs on there, right? I mean, we got If You Say the Word and then Follow Me Around, which had been around for a while.
Yeah.
And different version of Morning Bell. And then they kind of threw in just some like alternative track only stuff, like the How to Disappear and just strings. I did kind of like they did this Polk Pull True Love Waits version, which I might actually like better than the True Love Waits. That's on, that's actually on the album.
Yeah, because that's kind of a real. That'd be the one where if they played it live, I'd probably go grab a beer, take a leak or something.
Yeah, definitely.
I really wish they would have put the version of Nude that they played in the video in the movie Meeting People is Easy, where they're kind of warming up and he's playing it on the roads. That's sweet. Yeah.
Dude, it's so good. You're right. It is.
But to summarize, number one, album of the year.
Number one. Dude, Parquet Courts. Easily. Well, I think we should ask you guys if you made it this far, let us know what your favorite albums have been. If you have not already, give us a
like, subscribe, and comment below.
Let us know what we missed. Let us know what's coming out in 2022 that you guys are looking forward to, because I'm sure there's some stuff coming out. Like in a couple of weeks, Kiefer Sutherland's album is coming out. I'm super pumped for that.
And maybe you're going to look at our list and be like, you know what? No, I appreciate what you guys did, but I really think that Drake's Scary Hours 2 was the best one of 2021.
Yes, it's possible.
I mean,
anything's possible.
I'm going to disagree with that, but
yeah, and you can unsubscribe from our channel.
Yeah, and then after you do that, go ahead and listen to Rob Zombie's The Lunar Injection Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy, because I'm sure that's really amazing too.
It is. Put your kids to sleep to that one.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. I think that about wraps it up. 2021 year in review. Can't wait for 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time to go.
The Dude Grim Show. Scratch Your Track is produced by The Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by More. That's ... MORE. And the Tims. TIMNZ. Copyright 2022. The Dude and Grim Show.